The purpose of Silence the Podcast is to inspire low-income students and students of color to apply to Yale and other prestigious institutions by sharing my experiences. The purpose of Silence the Podcast is not to defame, bash, slander, attack, or drive hate or harassment towards anyone mentioned on the episode, including but not limited to Yale University, Yale College, other entities related to Yale, Yale staff, or Yale administration. The opinions, beliefs, and perspectives of Aisha Selena or any guest on Silence the Podcast do not reflect the opinions, beliefs, and perspectives of Yale University, Yale College, Yale administration, or other entities related to Yale. Buckle in. Silence is complacency.
Welcome to Silence the Podcast with Daisha Selena.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Silence the Podcast. This is episode 10, my double-digit episode. Thank you guys so much for being along with this journey. This is episode 10. We have 3 or 4 more episodes in the season, so let's just get straight into it. This episode is going to be about ChatGPT and AI versus college students because it is a lot that goes into this whole conversation about AI and the mixed messages about what we can and cannot use it for. And then if we can use it, then they're using AI to check if we used AI. Just a lot that doesn't make sense. I do think it's important to touch on, and I have already had my first experience with AI and like being accused of using AI. So let's just get straight into it. So first of all, I use ChatGPT. It's regularly a part of my life, and I don't use it for predominantly school related things. If I do use it for school, then I use it to summarize like the lecture or the PowerPoint, whatever the case may be, so that it can break it down for me in a way that I understand. Not to say that I'm telling it to do ABC 1, 2, 3, or I'm asking it to like teach it to me like I was a like first or second grader. No. If you watch my previous episodes, and I have touched on this before, but Yale college professors, while they are good, while they are experts in their field, while they very much do know what they're talking about, a lot of the times when they teach as if they're talking to their colleagues and like their friends, and not as if they're talking to students that know nothing about the topic. And I say that to say because they are great at what they do, but in terms of breaking things down step by step so that you can understand and speaking in a language that you can understand, I'm not going to get on them too much about that because I understand. As a college student going into her sophomore year, if I had to sit down with a kindergartner and teach them how to do 1 + 1 = 2 or 3 + 2 = 5, I would struggle as well, because something that is like secondhand nature to you, especially something that you specialize in and have been doing it for many, many, many years now. A lot of Yale college professors, they're in their 50s, 60s, 70s, pushing 80, and they've been studying biology and law and English and all of this for the last 30, 40 years. So I can see why it's hard for them to like break it down and revert back into the old mindset of, okay, let me figure out a way to explain it to people that aren't familiar with this topic or aren't familiar with this concept, or they don't specialize in science or math. I use AI to break down and like summarize and explain it in layman's terms, especially in my science and math classes, because I'm not a STEM person. As you guys know, I'm going to law school. I'm very much humanities, and it is a lifesaver. In one of my classes that I told you guys that I didn't feel good about in the beginning of the semester, right now I'm on track to get an A in that class, and that is because I put the PowerPoint into AI and asked it to break it down for me and summarize it and explain like the most important parts, and then I rewrite the notes myself. I still take notes in lecture, but I do rewrite the notes myself, and then as I'm rewriting it, I'm like, okay, so this is what that meant. Oh, okay, so I actually do understand what this means, but I just needed it explained to me in a different way. That's how I use AI for academic work. I will never ever be the person to ask AI to write me a whole essay or to do my homework for me. One, I have a guilty conscience. I'm someone that has one of the guiltiest of guilty conscience. Even doing that, I would be so paranoid about getting caught. Like, it would cause me physical illness. Like, I would literally be sick to my stomach and so scared about getting caught, because this is not like high school. If you get caught using AI, they might give you a 0 and then that's that. But in college, they will literally kick you out if they figured out that you cheated on an exam or if you cheated on an assignment. You're getting a 0 and you might get kicked out. So nobody wants those problems. I work too damn hard to get to where I am right now, and I'm not going to throw that away by being lazy. I know how to write an essay. I know how to do these assignments. Yes, they're time consuming. Yes, they might be annoying sometimes. Yes, it might be anxiety inducing, trying to make sure I'm hitting all the key points and doing everything that the professor wanted me to do so that, I get full credit and I get the highest grade possible. But in my personal opinion, the people that are going to AI and telling them to do everything for them and basically be a college student for them, it just doesn't make sense to me, and it's not going to help you in the long run. At the end of the day, when it's time to take those exams and you have to take them in person, paper and pencil, AI not going to be able to help you. At the end of the day, when the teacher calling you and asks you what is this or what is that, AI is not going to be able to help you. On top of that, this is college, so right after this, most of us are going into the real world and the jobs and the specialties that we want for ourselves. So hell no, I don't want the nurse that's helping me to tell me in the waiting room, oh yeah, I flew through college because I was using AI, so let me go ask ChatGPT how to take your vitals or how to put the needle in your arm. Or excuse me, the whole idea of using AI to like cheat your way through college, knowing that you're going into fields where people's lives are in your hands, that's stupid to me, and that's like a moral flaw to me, in my opinion. What I do use AI for, non-school related things, literally everything. Silence the podcast. When I have guests on, I make them sign a guest contract, and especially like what I went through previously with the other podcast I was on, I have definitely learned that you need a very detailed contract when you're working with anyone, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a business venture, whether it's something as simple as doing an assignment with someone. Contracts will save your ass. And no, it doesn't have to be written by a lawyer. No, it doesn't have to be overseen by this big law firm. Like, no, a contract is a verbal or written agreement that gives one or another party consent to do X, Y, and Z. So when I have a guest on Silence the Podcast, I make them sign a contract outlining the expectations, outlining how things are going to run, outlining when they need to, watch the rough draft of the episode, so they let me know like the edits and stuff that they need. It's very important to have a contract, and obviously I will be an attorney, but I'm not there yet. So I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know how to word things or phrase things. I don't know exactly what to say. AI has been very helpful with that. In terms of my nonprofit, baby, AI should be a co-founder. I'm not gonna lie. ChatGPT should be a co-founder, because the way it has helped me step by step from the very beginning in December 2024, when I was like, okay, I've been mentoring people, I've been helping people with the college process. I've already been doing this since October, but before the end of 2024, I want to get it legally acquitted. Like, I want to get it legally recognized. I want all my paperwork. I want to fill out the necessary things. Like, I want to make the contracts for my mentees so they know what I expect of them. I know what they expect of me, and that just minimizes conflict. When I say ChatGPT has helped me do everything in terms of even knowing what a nonprofit is, knowing what type of documentation and what websites and what I need to buy and things like that for my nonprofit, to make sure everything's running smoothly, legally, client contracts, from writing grants to getting donations for my mentees so they can get scholarships for college. My nonprofit has quite literally helped me basically through every single step of the way. Like, that's how significant ChatGPT has been to my life. I don't necessarily like the war on AI and the war on ChatGPT, and how I feel like there's a racial and a very much political component of it. But saying all that to say, y'all already know come from very humble beginnings. I'm not a legacy student. I don't live off mommy and daddy's money. Like, no. Nobody in my family has a business. Nobody in my family has a nonprofit. So it wasn't like I was able to go to anyone that I know personally and be like, hey, I want to run a nonprofit. Tell me where to start. No, if AI did not exist, I would have been using Google. And we all know Google not shit half the time. Half the time you Google something, they're sending you to 50 million different links, and it doesn't even have the answer that you're looking for. Like, no, with AI, you ask the question and gives you the response. 9 times out of 10, you have to double check it, because they do be giving wrong answers. Especially for my math class that I've been struggling in, I can't even use ChatGPT for that class because it's been giving me wrong answers. I don't got time for that. But in terms of like accuracy, obviously it's a computer at the end of the day, so make sure you fact check. But all in all, like, it has been very helpful to my business ventures, and without it, I would not have a nonprofit, because I wouldn't even know where to start and how to run it. I did run into an accusation of AI for the very first time in my life. I've never had a teacher or a professor, I don't want to say accused, because the way the situation unfolded, which I'm going to tell you guys like how that happened, but the way everything transpired, it wasn't like she was accusing me, or it wasn't like she was immediately resorting to taking action against me or trying to get me in trouble. Like, no, it was very strategic. It was very phrased in a way of like, I'm trying to help you grow, one, and two, I'm trying to get to the bottom of the situation to confirm that you really didn't use AI. So this is what happened, right? My very first college paper. Now, Now, obviously, I'm a humanities person. I'm going to law school and I take my writing very seriously. I feel like writing is one of my strong suits because I've been in this like loner mindset, in this a state of feeling alone, no matter who is around me, no matter how many friendships I have, no matter what relationship I am. At the end of the day, I still feel like I am just a person that is like alone majority of the time. So writing and journaling and things of that nature has always been my outlet. I enjoy writing. I think I'm very good at writing. There's a lot of areas where I can improve in my writing, but in terms of like knowing how to write a good paper, baby, I do not need AI, chat GBT, chat GPT. Like, I don't need none of that when it comes to writing. My first college assignment as a freshman, the way she broke it down was she wanted us to write the essay in a series of steps. She didn't want us to just write the essay or write the rough draft and turn it in, or write the final essay and turn it in and get a grade. Like, no. She wanted us to do the outline first. We turn it in. She gives us a grade. She returns the outline. Okay, we make corrections. Then we write the rough draft of the essay. We turn it in. She grades it, gives us feedback. Then we make corrections. Then we write the final version of the essay. We turn it in. She gives us feedback, and that's the final grade. So for the very first part of the essay, it was the outline. Now, I'm coming from high school, and the directions, in my opinion, weren't very clear. Something to outline, okay, all she wants to see is where my head is at and what I'm planning on writing about. It was a research paper. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to write my introduction. I'm going to write basically like the opening of the essay, what I'm writing about, what the topic's about. And then I'm going to write like where my evidence is coming from, but I didn't know I had to cite it in the outline. Now looking back, you might be like, bro, what you mean you didn't know how you had to cite it? But once again, I'm thinking this is an outline. This is just for her to see where our head's at. This is nothing like official yet. On top of that, if you're a writer, if you enjoy writing, or if you're good at writing, then when you're planning an essay or when you're planning out writing, the outline is going to be changed 50 million times, and it's 9 times out of 10 not going to look anything like the final version. So I'm thinking, this is something like she just want to see where my head at. I'm going to write my evidence, but I didn't include like citations or anything like that. So I could just turn it in and she could like give me feedback on if I'm going in the right direction. So when she returns the essay, when she like sends out the grades or whatever, I don't have a grade there. And I'm like, what's going on? And then at the bottom, I see her leave a little comment. She was like, a further talk is needed. Email me to schedule a Zoom session later to have a meeting about this. I'm like, what is going on? Mind you, my brain didn't even go to it because she in the comments she didn't write what the meeting or whatever was going to be about. My brain didn't even go to AI because, like I just said, I did not use AI. So it wasn't like, once again, I have a guilty conscience. If I would have used AI for real and I would have saw that message at the bottom, I would have been sweating in my boots. I would have been panicking because I'm like, damn, like you got me. But this was a situation where I genuinely, honest to God, did not use AI. Right on, did not use AI. So I'm like, what is this about? We get on the Zoom session. She's like, hey, like I know you're first year and this is like your first college paper, but I just wanted to let you know that AI was detected in over 50% of your paper. What was detected almost 50% of my paper? And I'm telling her, like, I'm not really sure where it's getting that I use AI because I genuinely did not use AI. And the thing about AI is it's very hard to defend yourself against AI because the computer is literally telling the teacher what parts you plagiarized or what parts you got from AI. And it's like, the thing that I don't understand about it, and a lot of people have given their like think pieces about it on TikTok, how are you using a computer to detect a computer? I'm no coding student. I'm not computer science at all. But I can imagine that whatever code, whatever software that is used for AI is able to detect something similar to what a computer would say. And if you're a good writer, the theory is that you would write similar to what a computer would say because the vocabulary, the sentence structure, the complexity of the ideas. So that just didn't make sense to me. So the outcome of that whole situation was she basically informed me that once again, the software that Yale uses to check for plagiarism determined a high amount of AI generated. I'm swearing up and down, telling her like that literally did not happen at all. And she was nice enough to let me redo the assignment without like taking no points or any penalty or anything like that. And once I actually like, sat through and examined and we were further like conversing about the issue, we realized that my citations were missing from the outline. And I told her like that was an honest mistake. Like it wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to write this off as my stuff. What happened was this was an outline. So I'm thinking you just want to see where my head's at. And that was, I would get feedback, and that was that. I didn't know I had to be an official, like write all your sources, write the authors, where it came from, the year, the date. I didn't know any of that. So we had a conversation and I informed her, and she was like, okay, like I definitely understand. Plus, like I know you're a first year, like I know you're trying to get adjusted and get used to the whole college thing. I know this is all new for you. I'm not gonna penalize you for an honest mistake. And I, to this day, am very, very, very grateful for her. Not only because she helped me like with my writing throughout the semester and she gave me good feedback and she really did challenge me to improve my writing. But if it was any other college professor, they could have easily been like, nope, it said AI, it said plagiarism, so I'm gonna give you a zero. And I would have got a zero on my very first college paper. And on the top of that, I probably would have failed the class because we only wrote 2 essays, and a zero on on one of the essays would have left me in a terrible spot. So she did a lot for me, and just being nice and being understanding that she probably doesn't even like know or have or was or would have been able to even imagine. But this is what I'm saying, like these colleges, these professors are so quick to jump on the AI bandwagon and the anti-AI, but it's like instead of automatically trying to give someone a punishment and plagiarize, in my opinion, I think the first step is to be having a conversation with that person. 9 out of 10 you're going to be able to detect whether or not they genuinely meant to plagiarize or whether or not they genuinely meant to use AI or whatever the case may be. But no, we're immediately vindicated. We're immediately like just villainized. I see this generation of kids that are so lazy, they don't want to do the work themselves, and that really just don't be the case. Now I'm going to transition into my personal theories on the whole issue of AI and what I think is really like getting to the bottom of it, right? First of all, I think cheaters ruin it for everyone because I'm sure these same professors that are like not bullshitting and they're very strong anti-AI policy, I'm pretty sure that they are that way because they have encountered people that try to play in their face and literally plagiarize an entire paper. So now they don't like, they're very intolerant, and they're gonna give you that automatic zero, no ifs, ands, buts, or buts. And I completely understand that. If I'm a professor and I'm expecting you to do something, and then you give it back to me and it's a completely AI, it's 100% computer, and then I'm gonna feel like you playing with my intelligence and you playing with me as if I wouldn't be able to figure out that this is not your actual writing or this is not your actual tone and writing style. Like, come on now. I do think there is a very strong racial component that I think is often overlooked in the conversation. And then obviously, like, this is just my opinion. This is like a theory. I have not done like the extra research or whatever to back it up. But in my personal opinion, certain individuals and certain demographics of people can confidently cheat and confidently use AI because they know that their wealth and their skin color and their privilege is going to be able to buy their way out of the situation. Me personally, I know better than to use AI because the school or mommy and daddy not gonna be able to call up the school and be like, hey, we donate $100,000 to you guys every single year. We know that you guys know that we fund X, Y, and Z of your school. So let's just slip this under the rug. Let's just pretend like my kid didn't do this, and then you would be able to keep your donation money. I know for a fact like that's not my situation. If I get caught cheating, I'm out of here, and there's nothing that no one else could do about it. College for a lot of people is an escape plan. It's an escape route. It's a pathway to a better life. And a lot of people that look like me, we're not gonna take that for granted. We're not gonna throw that away off of trying to use no computer because we know we don't got no other option. But however, if it's someone on the other hand that knows that they have money to sit on and a trust fund waiting for them and parents that have high stakes in the school that they go to, they're more likely to be like, yeah, like I could just do whatever I want. Like I'm not gonna get caught anyway. And if I do get caught, then I'm going to be able to beat the case and get out of the situation. And then on top of that, my other theory about AI is I genuinely feel like AI is weaponized against a lot of low income students because let's call a spade a spade. Before AI, the wealthier students were able to afford private tutoring, and that's how they were getting extra assistance on their assignments. In my personal opinion, ChatGPT and AI is literally a tutor but for free. It's a better tutor because not only are you getting the information in 0.5 seconds, but it's giving you very detailed information about whatever you're researching or whatever you're asking it about, and it would be better than what a human would be able to do because human error and things like that. And like I said before, the computers, they still make errors half the time. ChatGPT be giving me incomplete information or it be a little bit wrong, but it has been helpful for me, like I said, in ways where I've been able to start my entire nonprofit based on the information that AI has been able to provide to me that I would have to pay thousands of dollars for to take somebody's course or buy somebody's ebook on Instagram on how to start a nonprofit. And for the low income students that cannot afford private tutors and cannot afford to go to these extra sessions and do online classes and get online help, AI is helping them progress in college. That's why I don't understand the whole approach of anti AI, can't use it, because okay, so you don't want me to get extra help on the class that I'm trying to do well in? Like, it just doesn't add up to me. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And on top of that, the irony and the gag of the whole situation is the same professors that are anti AI, don't use AI, you'll get an automatic zero if you use AI. You can find their entire lesson plan on Google or on Quizlet. So it's like, you not even putting in the work yourself. You not even creating the lessons yourself. You're not even creating your teaching plan yourself. You're stealing it off of Miss Jackie on Quizlet, but you want me to do this 100% by myself with no outside help. You want me to not go on Quizlet and not look up Miss Jackie's lesson plan? Make it make sense. Come on now. If we have to be 100% honest and we have to use 100% integrity, then I feel like these professors should be held to the same standard, if not higher. You have a whole PhD. There's no reason why you couldn't take an hour out of your weekend to plan the lesson. There's no reason why you had to steal it from someone else on Quizlet. If it's that easy for me to go on the internet and find exactly what you're teaching me because it was created by another professor or another teacher, then you should chill out with the whole anti-AI thing. You should be, in fact, one of the last people talking, honestly. In my opinion, the next steps that society needs to take is, first of all, embrace the use of ChatGPT as a tutor and not for cheating. If In my opinion, and from psychology and what I've been learning, the more you tell someone not to do something and the more you're more authoritative with it and not really giving a valid concrete reason as to why you absolutely under no circumstances want kids using ChatGPT and AI, even if it's for help, the more they're going to be enticed to do it. That's just what we do as humans. The more you tell me no, 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 I'm gonna want to do yes, yes, yes until I learn my lesson. The same thing with a kid. The more you tell them don't touch the stove, don't put your hand on the stove, if they want to try you like that, one day they're going to touch that stove and they're going to put that hand on the stove. And when they get burned, they will learn, okay, let me not put my hand on the stove. I feel like instead of trying to shun us and ban us or whatever the case may be, encourage us. And I do have a lot of professors that say, listen, if you need extra support, if you need extra help, or if there's something that you don't understand, or if you want to learn about real world examples, we actually encourage you to use ChatGPT. And I think that makes the most sense. Why are you trying to scare people out of using something that could literally help them and can be the difference between them passing or not? Especially if you know you only have one office hours, and other than that, you're telling students to figure it out by themselves. Why would I sit here and spend 2 hours of my time searching through a textbook and trying to understand a textbook when I can put it into a search engine and the information I need be spit back out to me in less than 10 seconds? What sense does that make? Let's be real. Let's actually be real. On top of that, I think we need more reliable AI detectors, because I've seen a lot of different stories on TikTok and on social media in general of people genuinely not using AI, but there's no way to defend themselves because of what I said earlier. They're using computers to detect computers. Obviously, a computer is going to say that 100% of my shit was computer AI fabricated, when the whole time I asked it for one sentence or one word. And obviously, once again, I'm not a computer science geek. I'm not a STEM person. I don't know how they could create a system or create a whatever to detect AI in a more sensible way instead of using AI to detect AI. But I just think that's needed, because for the people that actually do, cheat their way through college and cheat their way through every assignment, yes, you need detectors for that. But for the people that's not, constantly being accused of your work not being your own because of a certain vocabulary you use or a certain sentence structure or punctuation, that shit gets annoying, and that's not fair, especially when the work that we're being asked to do takes 8 hours, 10 hours, 14 hours, multiple days at a time to perfect it and research and put in the work, all for you to turn around and accuse me of using AI. What sense does that make? And then lastly, I think professors need to actually trust their students and their intellectual capabilities. I think this war on Gen Z has also a lot to do with it, because all of a sudden Gen Z is so lazy and Gen Z is this and Gen Z is that, and we don't want to work and we don't want to do anything, and we just want to get on social media and become content creators, and none of us want to do anything with our lives, and we just want everything handed to us. I think that message is so ingrained into society that it's constantly used against us. Because if that wasn't the message, if people actually believe that we do have a purpose in this life and we do have goals and things that we want to accomplish for ourselves, if people genuinely believe that, then I don't think the whole issue of AI would be as big, because we will have the reputation of working hard, earning what we want, getting what we deserve. But no, I don't know when this shit started. I don't know how this shit started, but all of a sudden everybody is so anti Gen Z, we're lazy, we don't do anything, that those of us that do can't even get the credit for it, because everyone has this preconceived notion that we didn't do it by ourselves, or we use outside help, or we use a computer. Like, it's just ridiculous, and it's just like terrible what we have to go through, especially from some hating our generation. Like, come on now, y'all know back, yes, the 90s, yes, the 80s, yes, the 70s, y'all know for a fact if y'all had the resources that we have and the technology that y'all would have to make your college life easier, you would use it. The amount of people in the older generation that say, well, back in my day, I had to actually handwrite everything and there was no laptops and we couldn't type anything. Okay. Did you enjoy handwriting everything? If there was an alternative option available at that time, would you not have wanted to take it? Like, come on now. Especially if it's more efficient. My heart fully goes out to anyone that has been accused of using AI if they genuinely did not use AI. Like, I know that must be a very shitty feeling to feel like, damn, I really sat here and put my blood, sweat, and tears into this, all for them to turn around and accuse me of doing something that I literally did not do. I know that must not be a great feeling at all. So my heart genuinely goes out to anyone that has had that experience. And I'm interested to see on where this whole dynamic and where this conversation is going to go later, because I feel like it's genuinely only going to get worse from here. If they don't figure something out on how to better detect these computers and AI and ChatGPT, I think like it's just going to get worse. The accusations are going to get worse. More people are going to be falsely and wrongly accused of using something that they're literally not using. So yeah, I know this was a shorter episode, but I really wanted to touch on this topic because I know it's impacting a lot of people. Literally on Yoast campus right now, there's an issue going around in one of the computer science classes that one person, no, a few students were suspected of using AI, and then like the professor sent like a threatening email that if this continues or no one comes forward, then a lot of people's grades are going to be affected by it. It just sounds like a mess, and that's like this whole notion of one person does and not everyone has to go down. That shit has never sat right with me either. Because if Billy John used AI and that I did not use AI, but now because you can't trust us, now we all have to take a zero because of Billy John. Like, I don't know. That should not fair. It never been fair. It is not fair, and it's very unfortunate that people have to go through that. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was, like I said, a little bit shorter, but this was a specific topic that I really wanted to hone in on because of how many people that it has affected.